I was thankful when I left that job in the summer of 1990, and I got to go back to the Marine Corps, get back in my comfort zone. And you know, up until then, I'd never been in combat. Suddenly, in August of 1990, Saddam Hussein invades Kuwait, and America finds itself preparing for war. And I'm in the middle of it. I get to do the old headquarters Marine Corps thing. I'm with the Commandant. We're planning combat operations. And the stuff I'm doing apparently impressed people enough that they were going to send me straight to Saudi Arabia, hook me up with the lead Marine element to clear the minefields. I had done some analysis on minefield breaching and how we're going to do it. So they said, you're going to go with the tip of the spear. And we did the calculations on it. I had an 80% chance of getting killed. And I was happier than I've ever been in my entire life. You've seen that movie, Forrest Gump? Lieutenant Dan? I get to die for my country. It was great. So off I go. They put me on an airplane. I land in Riyadh. And then the guy meets the plane with his clipboard. And they're going down the names. Boom, 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 boom. They get, and then all the names are read off, and I'm still standing there. The guy goes, who are you? I said, who am I? I'm Captain Ritter. By name request to come here and personally win the war. They said, well, you're not on the list, man. I said, check it again. By name request, straight to the Commandant, that's why I'm here. Captain, you're not on the list. Get on the bus, go find yourself a bunk, and in the morning we'll figure out what we're going to do with you. And then in the morning, they didn't have any orders, so they were looking around, they found a room, said battle damage assessment, there's no one in it, and they go, you can sit in here and this is what you're going to do for the rest of the war. Now, I was preparing to die for my country, leading the assault. Now they got me sitting in a room looking at photographs and maps and being a geek. And I said, I don't want to do this. This is not how I want to be fighting this war. Well, fortunately for me, when the war started, Israel started getting hit by Iraqi missiles. And General Waller, General Schwarzkopf's deputy, walks in. They got a problem, you see, because Israel's getting ready to enter the fight. And we've got to somehow come up with a strategy to stop Israel, which means we have to have a strategy to get the Iraqi missiles. So he walks in and he goes, does anybody here know anything about missiles? And they all go, yeah, Ritter's the foremost expert on intercontinental ballistic missiles. So I get pulled out. Long story short, I get assigned to Delta Force, the Navy SEALs, the Air Force, and we go off and we do our thing, and I get the war that I wanted. I will just tell you this, war sucks. War is the worst thing that mankind can do to mankind. Anybody who's ever been in combat will tell you that there's nothing good about it. You might be able to sit here and say, that I can justify my actions, but there's no way I will legitimize war. Having shot at and been shot at, there's nothing glorious about it. There's no thoughts of heroism going through while you're clawing at the dirt, peeing in your pants, trying to get a lower profile as you hear rounds cracking overhead, knowing that you got to muster the courage to stand up and assault that which is trying to kill you. And seeing what a bullet can do to a human body, it ain't what you see on TV. And we'll just leave it at that. I learned to hate war by going to war. The role of citizenship's important. You know, we talk about this. I was a Marine. I took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, etc. You know, as we speak right now, there's 160,000 plus Americans deployed in harm's way in Iraq and Afghanistan. We can never forget that. While we're here, given a time zone difference, Americans are waking up right now. Men and women who honor us by wearing our uniform. And they're strapping on their uniform, lacing up their boots, picking up their equipment, and going off to do the job that they are assigned to do. And if statistics hold true, one or more of them are going to die today. Up to a dozen will be wounded. And you know, the wounding part, the death part, man, people die in war. That happens. You know, but there is a fate worse than death. See, death is terminal. Imagine, for instance, a young citizen of Missouri graduates high school, joins the Army, and goes off. But before he goes off, he marries his high school sweetheart. And being hot-blooded young man, he gets her pregnant before he goes off. So she's sitting there, and her stomach's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, bringing in the miracle of life into the country. And he's off serving his country. And she can't wait till he comes home, and they can get on with their joint life together. But he instead is in a Humvee that gets hit with an IED, improvised explosive device. Now, if she's lucky, it'll kill him. You see, because now his body comes home, she gets to bury the body in the ground, and there's closure. She gets a paycheck from the government, and she gets to move on with her life. It'll be sad, it'll be tragic, but she gets to move on. But given the miracle of modern medicine, what might happen instead is that both legs will get sheared off. The arm will get sheared off, but even that's not the end of the world because he's functioning. But given the explosion, it's going to addle his brain. He's going to be brain dead. They're going to save his life. And now he's going to come home. He's going to be peeing into a colostomy bag. He's going to be drooling because his brain doesn't function. His eyes are open, but he's not seeing or comprehending anything, and he never will. And he's 19 years old. And now she's stuck with him. She has to care for him for the rest of his life. And his family's stuck because she can't do it by herself. And so this brave young man who went off to serve his country has come back and condemned his immediate family, those who he loves, those who he's willing to sacrifice his life to defend. He's condemned them to a fate, frankly speaking, worse than death. Now, the bumper sticker is amazing. But, I love bumper stickers. They're expressive. But there is one bumper sticker that I hate with a passion. It's that little yellow bumper sticker. The magnetic one you've seen, the ribbon that says support our troops. I hate this sticker with a passion because it's one of the biggest lies ever promulgated. Because simply by putting that sticker on the back of cars, people say, I'm doing my duty. I'm supporting the troops. I think not. Is that bumper sticker going to help that 19-year-old wife care for her permanently crippled or disabled husband? Help that family care for their son or daughter? No. And what about the soldier that comes home physically intact but mentally destroyed by what he or she has seen because of war? The taking of human life is a horrible thing, and once it occurs, once you participate in it, it scars you forever. You will never forget what you did. Are we there for them, all those people who put support the troop on the back of the cars? Do we really support the troops? Do we support the troops collectively as citizens by applauding them as they go to war? No. It's absurd. See, when a president declares war, sends troops off to war, it should become a national day of mourning. The flag should be flown at half-staff. Not because we're defeatists, but because we need to recognize that what we have done is not glorious, that we have condemned thousands, if not tens of thousands, of our nation's finest to being casualties, either wounded, dead, or mentally afflicted. Because nobody comes... Pardon? Well, the goddamn president is the one who is the commander-in-chief, and with all due respect to the Congress, they have abrogated their ability to declare war decades past. The Congress, I think, passed something called the War Powers Act that gives the president 90 to 180 days of carte blanche. So you don't even need a war powers resolution. The president right now can pick any point on the face of the earth and engage it militarily with all the constitutional authority he needs. Now, after 90 days, he should go to Congress and seek permission. Or, if it's inconvenient after 90 days, he can automatically extend it to 180 days. And, so... Now, it's the President of the United States that talks to the American people and says, I'm sending our boys and girls off to fight and die. And yet, what do the Americans do? USA, USA, big patriotic parades. It's all BS, ladies and gentlemen. If we cared for our troops, we would mourn the day they were sent to war, and we would ensure, as citizens of the United States of America, that we did everything possible short of war to ensure that before we send these Americans off to fight and possibly die in our name, that it is a cause worthy of the sacrifice they are about to make. Support the troops, my ass. We don't support the troops, ladies and gentlemen. We disrespect the troops. We disrespect them every second. We remain mute about not only the illegal war that's being waged in Iraq, but the irresponsible conflict being waged in Afghanistan. And we condemn the troops, spit in their face as we collectively remain silent in the face of the potential of conflict with Iran. We don't support the troops. And we should at least be honest enough to say so and take those ridiculous yellow stickers off the back of the cars, because it is just living a lie.